And that would be Lingdong, I believe, that's waiting now.
Yeah.
And then that is Wang Haoze, and the first was Cai Xuzhe, the commander. So we have just under 3 hours to go until their launch, and this is their preparation stage where they'll be setting off, meeting all the audience there to send them off, wishing them good luck.
Yeah. Some of their family members will attend this ceremony.
Comrade Commander-in-Chief, we are following the order to carry out Shenzhou-19 manned space flight mission. Now we are ready to go. Please indicate. Member of PLA Astronaut Corps, Taikonaut Cai Xuzhe, Taikonaut Lingdong, Taikonaut Wang Haoze. Proceed. Yes. Salute.
So that is a fairly solemn moment, I would say, there for the 3 astronauts.
With this, we can greatly expanding the reliability of the whole mission, because we still have the chance to change the launch moment. So also with the development of our
There's the astronauts getting off now.
yes,
off the
they've already got off the
heading to
ground
launch
vehicle.
pad.
And also, as Yan Song mentioned, they're waving their hands to the final, I believe many of their leaders from all departments.
Final salutes.
Another goodbye.
Yeah.
And how, obviously, weather is also very important. We want a clear sky day, no rain.
Wish you a
Wind
traffic
conditions.
see you in Beijing. And also back to the China's CSS. And also we born in 1990s, also will go to the CSS.
So now they have proceeded to the lift.
And the lift going up, how many meters is this to the top of the space?
Roughly 52 meters, 50 meters, yeah.
And they can make that ascent in just...
Safely landed.
That's why the top platform has to
Exactly.
open fast.
So
Oh,
you
they're
can see
out of the lift already. That's fast.
yes.
Yeah.
Faster than I thought.
And the supporting crews are waiting there to get them prepared. They're going to be sitting down, and then they will be boarding the rocket sequentially.
What sort of equipment would the crew, the support staff be carrying? I see them with a lot of boxes. Some medical equipment there? Or?
Yes. What you mentioned, the medical crew belongs to the what we call the astronaut system. The astronaut system is not only in charge of the training of the astronaut, but also in charge of the design and manufacturing of the space suits, including the IVA space suits and the EVA space suits. And also, as you mentioned, they have doctors to monitoring the health condition of all astronauts.
And they will be doing a final check as well before they lift off, right?
Yeah, they basically they bring all the tools, and they have two categories of supporting crews. One is for the astronaut themselves. One is for the rocket itself, because the rocket is done by the engineers. They know how to open and unscrew and then so fix them and unlock the rocket before it's launched. The life support system for the crew will check their conditions, parameters before they get in, and also connecting all the plugs, make sure that data are collected and sent back. Yeah. So I think from this moment they're sitting down and they're waiting for.
It's critical. It's important.
So how frequent, this regarding weather, let's say weather, just presume weather condition is all fine, but how frequently would a launch window come about? So we're about to see, I think the astronauts are about to enter the spaceship, and that is Wang Haoze there.
Yeah.
First
03.
She's saluting and then.
She's number 3.
Yeah.
And then.
So she
goes first.
She's code is 03.
And she'll be followed by Song.
Song, yeah.
02.
Song Lingdong is 02.
No.
So she's this is what you were saying, sliding in. I wasn't sure what you meant by that.
So as I mentioned,
we
will first go, this is camera inside the orbital module. You can see that they will first go inside this orbital module with the help of the ground crew. Yep.
Oh, so there's a crew inside.
You can see all kinds of cargoes in the shelves around the orbital module. So she already inside the orbital module and then go down to the re-entry capsule.
Are they sliding in just because of the sheer size of this hatch?
Actually speaking, it's
really
very narrow.
So the only way, that's
Exactly.
basically the only way they can enter.
Yes, that's the only way, yes.
So there is a hatch between the orbital module and the re-entry capsule.
And that's as far as the staff can go, right? The support staff. I mean, can they fit any more people into the orbital entry, the re-entry?
Re-entry
modules
cannot fit anyone.
Just the
in
3
there, yes.
astronauts.
So I believe that Ms. Wang will sit in the seat closest to the camera.
Okay, let's see if you're right. Well, I'm pretty sure you are, since
Maybe
you've
they have
seen
more
many of these.
Maybe more cameras.
They do. But usually we use the side one, which has a better view.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very long, drawn-out process. They're very careful with every step they tread in there.
One thing interesting is to know that the seat themselves are designed for the astronaut individually, so that they can, experience maximum G's, gravities. We know that the human body cannot tolerate more than 12 G's, but these are seats that designed in such a way that you sit in, you're fit very tightly, and you can tolerate more gravities.
So it's got to be very snug, fitted to their body shapes. Do they consider weight as well? Is that a factor in the chair design, or is it just mostly the body shape?
Mostly body shape, and mostly your height, your deep contours and everything.
Well, we can hear the voice from the launch site system. They are just conducting another numerical simulation of the launch.
So it takes a while for her to get comfortable there.
Yeah, it's a tight fit.
Yeah.
And also, we can hear a lot of radio announcement. These are exercise after exercise, to make sure that all functions all systems are go for the launch. Not only, these are launching sequence, and also they have ground crews, ground stations to check their links.
Mr. Song Lingdong is now going into inside the cabin.
02 sliding in.
Mr. Song Lingdong is the one during the re-entry. He will in charge of the cutting off the parachute. So that is the role of 02.
I mean, they will all have been assigned specific tasks during this whole launch process, right?
Because his seat is near the button to cut off the parachute when landed.
Is it always 02 who does the parachute? Always 02.
So
he has the handle.
So what price Yaping most? Because during the Shenzhou-19 mission, the capsule landed vertically. This is the reason, because she pressed the button in the most right moment So
it won't pull off. Yeah.
yes, in most cases it will be pulled off, as Yansu mentioned. But you know that if it can land vertically, the astronaut will feel very convenient.
But how hard is that to
Very, very hard.
orchestrate?
You seldom have the chance. In most cases, almost more than 90%, they will lie down because you don't have the right moment to push the button to cut off the.
So do you
parachute.
think for her, for Wang Yaping, that was by chance, coincidence, or
could
was
be,
that
because
calculated
and lucky
experience?
enough,
Yeah.
we only have
Luck.
we only have two examples: the Shenzhou-6 mission and the Shenzhou-13 mission. Only in these two missions, the capsule landed vertically.
Right. And there's the commander.
Finally, the commander will go inside and sit in the middle.
01, Cai Xuzhe.
Mr.
He's our
Cai Xuzhe.
veteran. He's our returning astronaut.
Please notice today that all the members from the second batch of Chinese astronauts have already have their chance to go to outer space, and among them, 6 of them, including this one, has already have their second mission, and 4 of them has already become commanders.
He was last up there. Cai Xuzhe was last up there in 2022, right? So I think it was.
So after
Yeah,
him,
2 years before.
Yeah. And 2 years a break in between going up to space, is that a kind of a normal amount of time?
You can go a little bit faster, but it's physically challenging. You have to take a half a year to recover physically, because it's a long duration flight. It's not a week flight, but it's a half year flight. So you lose a lot of bone mass. Your cardiovascular system changes. Your muscle loses. So you have to regain all of those. And you have to have good physical exercise and nutrition, and then you get recovered and trained for the new mission. You have to do a lot of simulations, train with your new crew, and also, so that takes time.
So this is a pretty standard amount of time then in between missions. Yeah, 6 months to recoup, and then another lead up to this. He was up, Cai Xuzhe was last up there for 6 months as well, I believe, right, with the 14. The 14 was the first mission to crewed mission to be in the space station for that long period of
half a
time.
year.
Not the first one. In Shenzhou-19 mission, Mr. Ye Guangfu will the first one in China who have accumulated time in space for 1 year. Mr. Ye Guangfu, when he come back to the Earth 5 days later, he will be the first one that conducted the accumulated time in outer space will be about 1 year. Mr. Ye Guangfu will be the first one. Because in Shenzhou-13 mission, he also stayed in outer space for half a year. So this time, another half a year.
And then Cai Xuzhe will be then, I guess, the second astronaut
The
to have
second
stayed
one,
for accumulated
to have this.
1 year.
It's a standard half-year mission for every crew, so to maintain the permanent presence of human being in the station itself. So this was designed in such a way, and also a supporting system like cargo ships, life support system, oxygens, waters, food, and all are designed in such a way so that the crew can be sustained for half a year.
Initially, the crew was up there, I think, I can't remember which Shenzhou it was, but for just 3 months, right? And then that expanded to the 6 months.
And there were also queries about emergency cases. For example, we know the International Space Station has 2 astronauts that cannot come back with their original capsule.
Boeing style liner.
Boeing designed, and also the question was asked, how about the Chinese station? And we know that there is this is Shenzhou-18 mission. We have 19 missions already in the vicinity. Once this is launched, the 19 will be on the pad for any emergency cases.
This is 19.
So 19,
No,
sorry,
yeah, this is 19,
20.
so we have 20
So
waiting.
20 is going to be standby for any cases that anything happens to the previous crew, and we can send the 20 for emergency.
Now Mr. Cai Xuzhe, the commander, is go down from the orbital module to the re-entry capsule with the help of the ground crew. You can see that.
And again, another very tight fit. I mean, this is really, there's just no space for maneuver.
But today it's already from a very standard routine, so the ground crew is also well trained
Very
and experienced.
experienced,
So they do know what they should do to help the astronauts to go more smoothly. And also, you know that usually the ground crew have two categories. One from the medical team, usually belongs to the astronaut system, who are in charge of monitoring the health condition of the astronaut. And also the other team belongs to the spacecraft system, because you know that all these modules belongs to the Shenzhou spaceship. So they also need to ensure that everything is okay, including, you know, that finally they need to close the hatch.
What we call escape tower is activated. So in case
we're at the 2-hour countdown now. Sorry to interrupt you there.
It's T-minus 2 hours and counting.
Yeah.
2 hours to go till launch.
So in different countdown moments, we have the checking of the different critical systems, including the launch site systems, the rocket systems, the Shenzhou spacecraft systems, the TT&C systems, and also our Tiangong Space Station systems. Everything should be go ahead.
So it's like a protocol they have already, exercised many times. Once you call 2 hours preparations, then there is an activation of number of actions, and including all the systems.
Look! The first platform is now opened, as I mentioned.
The very top platform.
The very top one.
And then it will be the very bottom
you
one,
can see that the emergency escape tower, we can already have a direct eyesight with that.
We're hearing more system checks there.
That means the activation of the escape tower, to ensure the safety of the astronauts.
Mr. Xu, I understand that you get to have a little break now, but we'll bring you back a little later in the program as we continue to watch the launch.
So when the emergency escape tower ignited, so there will be any obstacle because the first platform has already opened.
Right.
So this is also a safety measure.
Well, China has laid out its roadmap for space science development, and one of the key goals of the plan is to become a space industry leader by 2050. And other objectives include a manned lunar mission. Let's take a look.
China announced its first ever medium and long-term plans for space science development. A variety of key research areas have been listed and include exploring the origin and evolution of the universe, gravitational waves, the sun, the earth, the heliosphere for a panoramic view of sun-earth, the habitability of celestial bodies in the solar system and beyond, and search for extraterrestrial life, the laws of matter movement and life activities in space, and more.
规划提出了至2050年我国空间科学发展的路线图。
The plan proposes a roadmap for China's space science development up until 2050. Between 2028 and 2035, operations on China's space station will continue and will implement missions such as a manned lunar exploration mission. Around 15 satellite missions will also be conducted. Between 2036 and 2050, we plan to conduct some 30 space science missions and become a global leader in certain areas.
China's manned space program has revealed that Chinese taikonauts will travel to the moon by 2030. These lunar expeditions are expected to involve cutting-edge science experiments.
Well, the Shenzhou-19 crew will be carrying out 86 space science research and technology experiments during their mission. A spokesperson of the China Manned Space Agency gave the details at a news conference.
载人航天工程自立项之初
Since the very beginning of the program, we have put a great importance on space.
Crew transportation system for our Tiangong Space Station.
Don't forget, China is also developing the new generation manned rocket, the Long March 10, and also new rocket, new spacecraft for the manned lunar missions before 2030. So the scientists already developed that prototype, and that I think in the next few years they will conduct the tests and also the launch before around 2028, before it can be used to launch the taconauts to on the moon.
So that will be the second human-rated launch vehicle of China. And it is based on the 5-meter diameter core stage. So it's much bigger than our Long March 12 because the core stage diameter is 3.35 meters. So with the technology, we get based on the Long March 5 series, we can have the experience to make the Long March 10 launch vehicle within 2 years. As Mr. Woolley has already mentioned, maybe the maiden flight will be conducted in 2027 or 2028.
All right, well, let's get back to this current spacecraft that's carrying the Shenzhou-19, and let's hear a little bit more about the system.
Collaborate with China on these lunar and also deep space missions. So in the future, we can see more collaboration will be expected in this area. And also for the astronauts side, many countries want to send the astronauts to China's space station. A lot of countries have already applied, and we are being told by the China Manned Space Agency, in the future, foreign astronauts will come to China for the training, and they will be sent to China Space Station. They will work alongside with Chinese astronauts, scientists, engineers together to operate and do the space experiments. And last but not least, and I can feel that a growing number of commercial space applications have been provided in this exhibition. Many companies, private companies, they are offering a kind of commercial space application, or also private space station. A lot of private companies, they are offering a full set of a private space station, and also space travel, space tourism, and also space application. So in the next few years, I can see that a lot of private companies will pull in this kind of private space station, private lunar missions, private, a lot of private companies have been investing more in this space sector. So these are most of that impressed me most. So every time, although this is my second time attending the IAC, I have already found many changes. So we're hoping that more Chinese scientists and more Chinese engineers and also journalists can take the opportunity to go to these places to, like Professor Yang said, we are the bridge to bridge this kind of gap between the scientists and the public.
Right. What kind of changes then? Is it changes from the first time that you attended? In what areas of space development?
Last year was held
stages in the drop area of the boosters, we must ensure it's already safe enough. Do not have residents inside.
How accurate can that be? How accurate?
It cannot be 100% accurate. So there is a theoretical landing point, but usually surround this landing point, we have a dropping area because we have errors and also the influence of wind.
It's all calculated on the trajectory of the spacecraft.
Maybe several hundred.
Basically at village level,
So just before, so that is the reason why it costs more money if you launch this inland. So if you launch the launch vehicle on the seashore, the dropping area will be located in the sea. It's much simpler.
But do they still need to retrieve all the parts from the ocean? Is there an obligation to do this?
They just make sure that the residents are safe. You know, a normal practice is to collect all the villagers, go to a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Collect the people.
Yeah, but collect the people and move them to safe areas to, let them enjoy a movie, and then the drop zone is done, and they can return to their home. If there are damages, we compensate.
Yes, but there's no requirement in terms of safety or security issues to retrieve these parts that have been jettisoned.
It's not mandatory.
It's not. Okay.
Sometimes it drops in a very remote areas. So basically, it's designed in such a way. So that's why Hainan, because the drop zones are in the ocean.
Right.
So we don't have to recover from the ocean. But we do have, new generations of rockets that can recover back to Earth. It's like SpaceX, they launch and they recover the engine, and so that they can quickly reuse them again. So these what we call reusable launch vehicles instead of expendable. Traditionally, we call these are expendable launch vehicles.
Right.
You launch them once and you abandon them. But new technologies are coming. Commercial companies at any time they can abort the mission, they can come back to Earth safely. So we had experiences before with the Soyuz rocket that they have already traveled about 100 kilometers above the Earth, and they had an issue with the rocket, so they had to return with the capsule itself. So they made it, but it was a rough ride.
Midway through the launch.
Yes, midway through the ride. It's
returned.
It's about less than 10 minutes. Of the launch.
That's what I mentioned, the MS-10 mission, Soyuz MS-10 mission.
And this would be something that would be programmed into as a sort of a backup plan already in the launch plan.
Look, this is another rotational platform has already been opened. We can see more parts of the fuselage, of the core stage. Now even we can see the China national flags on the payload fairing.
Sorry, so just remind us again, what are the dimensions of the capsule that these astronauts are sitting in?
Well, that's what we see just now is the payload fairing. The diameter of the payload fairing is 3.8 meters. The diameter.
3.8 meters.
And for the capsule, the diameter is about 3.35 meters. And also,
that's you're talking about the diameter from the outside, right? But for them,
it is the biggest one. But for the re-entry capsule, the size of the re-entry capsule, the biggest diameter is only about maybe 2.3 or 2.4 meters. So that's much smaller. So the advantage of use 3-module design with orbital module, the re-entry capsule, and the propulsion module is that the advantage you can build a very, very small re-entry capsule. So it's much easier. But that today the trend has already been changed. For the new generations, like our Mengzhou spacecraft, the diameter is much bigger. So it makes it possible that with a bigger diameter, the inner volume is already big enough. We do not need any orbital module. So comparing with 3-module design, with the new generation, we can adopt the 2-module design. And with the 2-module design, that almost all the new generation spaceship of all other space capable nations adopted this 2-module design because it has a bigger diameter, although it brings some challenge for the re-entry, but also have some advantage because with a bigger diameter, you can also have a wider and more convenient inner volume, and also you can have more instruments
during the launch before they reach orbit.
Parameters, and also maybe, as I mentioned, maybe they will already close their face masks, and also
that's the 5 minutes countdown.
5 minutes and counting.
But the astronauts won't be able to see outside at the first stage, and then after the jettison of the escape tower and the fairing, they're going to have a little window they can see outside. See the horizon.
what we call the launch azimuth, or the flight direction of this Long March 2F is going to the east and then a little bit to the south. So maybe at the separation of the second stage and the Shenzhou spacecraft, maybe they can already see the sunshine, maybe. And at that moment, they can have the light from the window.
And Mr. Xu, can you give us a sort of equivalent of what it would feel like to be an astronaut during this whole, after the liftoff, you know, especially with the G-force and everything, you know, what would it feel like to us, you know, if we can find something?
If you can imagine you're in a car, in a sports car, and you accelerate very quickly, it's like an airplane or even faster. Then you go vertically, but you're going vertically up with the acceleration. And then that would happen in the first, let's say, 10 minutes. The first 3 or 4 minutes, you get very quick acceleration, and there's what we call a max Q, the biggest time biggest stress that you can experience in the launching.
The biggest stress.
Yeah, and then there's also issues what we call a pogo. Sometimes it go up and down.
Oh.
And
vibration.
Then, vibration. It's a vertical vibration we call pogo. And then after like 10 minutes, and then there's a seize of the engine, and then you feel microgravity. You don't feel anything. It's like floating in space. So that's the whole process of launching. I think
usually the thrust of the engines is a constant value. But
3 minutes.
T-minus 3 minutes and counting. But you know that the propellants become less and less. So the acceleration becomes more and more. You can feel more and more G-forces. So that is very normal. So usually the max G-forces happen during the separation of the stage. So that is the reason.
And this pogo stage you're talking about, I guess that's why they need the seat to be so snugly
you can feel
fit
that
to
all
their
your organs
contour,
will
right?
go out.
Yeah.
It's like
to reduce the amount of space that you could be hitting against
it's
a chair.
Big suffering. Yes.
You know that Mr. Yang Liwei feels extremely uncomfortable because you know that the G-forces combines with the vibration together. This can never be simulated on the ground simultaneously.
So they can't really prepare for this then, you're saying? If it can't be simulated on the ground, can they
They will
train
have
enough for
trainings
this?
of the G-forces, they will have the trainings of the vibration, but
not
on the ground,
together.
they cannot be combined together.
So then only
But there's room for you improve the rocket itself and make it more smooth.
So really, only astronauts who've made the successful mission to space and back they're the only people who've actually can experience this movement, I suppose, of the launch. You can't replicate it here on Earth so far.
It's out of the Earth.
Okay, please notice it's already less than 2 minutes for the liftoff. And next, as I emphasized, some of the arm connected to the launch vehicle will be unplugged.
And so all those umbilical cords, essentially. They're looking very tense there. This is the control center in Jiuquan.
We're going to have countdown at any time.
So we also have cameras mounted on these arms to monitor the separation position, the unplugged position. So today we have more measures than before to ensure the safety.
I wonder how nervous they're feeling. Okay, this is the 1 minute countdown now.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
That means everything has to be in green light.
Nobody
has to press the red button.
Don't touch anything.
Yeah. The number of systems that has to work together.
But they're so practiced at this now, you know, they're so experienced with this whole process.
All the
40
arms
seconds.
untouched.
$30 seconds to go.
So the transfer of power supply also accomplished.
So the rocket is on the top.
Maybe the astronaut will salute.
Yeah, normally.
I feel the tension. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Salute. The report of the real liftoff time. And the how it's cleared now.
I counted as well after the ignition, about 2 seconds, yes.
So
that's it.
We've
That's a
already
long March
have
carrier
a
rocket.
successful liftoff. After about 2 minutes, we will have what Yansu mentioned, the first separation,
Right,
the
we'll be
jettisoning
watching
of
that
the
in a minute.
emergency escape tower.
This you see is a strap-on booster.
Yeah, exactly. So this
The
is the
camera from the
camera
outside.
mounted on the core stage.
Yeah.
We can see 2 of the 4 strap-on boosters, 2 of the 4 side boosters. So as I mentioned, each have 1 engine.
Looking
I
down.
think we're hearing,
Yeah,
really,
looking backwards.
So nominal tracking.
Now we can see that on the right of the screen is the camera mounted inside the re-entry capsule, and on the left is what the camera, as Yansong by Yansong, the camera mounted on the core stage, looking backwards.
so at this point they're not feeling so bad. It's when the boosters come
We
off.
have
you're saying
G-forces
that's
and
when-
vibration, not very comfortable.
They're accelerating. Yes.
And it became more and more worse because with more and more acceleration, with less and less propellants.
So it will get progressively worse. Right now is not the worst part.
There's a max Q. There's maximum time.
Right.
You're in the transonic procedure.
So any minute now, I think we'll see the propellants come
The
off,
speed
right,
is
the
not
boosters.
still.
It is very interesting that maybe at this, maybe next ceremonies in Beijing, maybe on the top of this building, you can see the trajectory because it's very bright. And
We
it's
should
close
get
to Beijing.
outside.
You can see the trajectory of the second stage.
Now you can pay attention to the escape tower. It's going to be ejected anytime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At about 2
It's gonna be
minutes.
a small fire on top of the rocket.
Right, looking at the very point of the rocket. Oh, there it
okay.
is. It just
Great.
went.
Jettison.
Yeah.
But still, we have rocket engines on the payload fairing. If anything wrong happens, we can still use the engines to separate the rocket.
The image on the right there that we saw was a simulation, was it? Or,
Yeah. And now this is a real optical. Yeah.
Well, on the left of the screen is the infrared video images.
Yeah. Next stage is the separation of the strap-on booster. You're going to see 4
Yeah.
4 strap-ons are going to be
4
separated at the same
live
time.
spots.
Yeah.
Okay. It
Looks like it's happening.
And this is when the villagers will be
Separated. And
glad
then the
that
separation
they're
of the first
watching
stage.
a film
Yeah.
somewhere.
Okay. The first stage also separated.
That is the announcement of the boosters having separated.
Yeah. So the rocket is on the second stage.
Yeah. Yes. And the next step will be the separation of the 2 payload fairings. At that moment, maybe the astronaut can enjoy the view.
Yeah. The separation of the fairing means you're out of this world now. Then you're out of the atmosphere, and you have no drag
Do
from.
not need the protection of the
Literally out of
aerodynamic
this world.
forces.
Yeah.
Now, this is a video get by the camera mounted on the rear part of the second stage, and this is a video inside the payload fairing. We can see the folded solar panels of the Shenzhou spacecraft.
And when that is released,
You see
Okay.
this
yeah,
Separated.
the
there
fairing's
we go.
gone.
The bottom right screen there.
Fairing's gone. Now they can see the world.
But obviously, at this moment, the Shenzhou spacecraft is still in the shadow area of the Earth, so the
There's
astronaut cannot
not
see
much
the light
view.
of the sun.
Yeah.
But they can already view the beautiful Earth now.
They're checking their
It should be
manual
above
again.
Shandong at this moment.
Not yet, maybe 7 minutes later.
Yeah.
The separation point of the launch vehicle, the second stage, and the Shenzhou spacecraft will be to the east of the eastern coast of China Sea, maybe in the Yellow Sea area.
So it's all very precise where it's going at what time. You can predict.
Everything is designed.
So
The
there's
USB reader works normally, and also tracking.
Nominal tracking, nominal functioning. So everything goes well now.
Yeah, and the astronauts are looking pretty comfortable in there, flipping through their manuals.
Now you
again.
can see that on the second stage we have 1 main engine and several vernier engines. The main engine has a thrust more than 80 tons, and the vernier engine to change the stability and also direction of the second stage. And the next step will be the shutdown of the main engine, but the 4 vernier engines still working for several seconds to ensure the accuracy of the trajectory. Now you can see that's the second stage, because it is at night, it's very bright.
Yeah.
This is a camera mounted on the end of the second stage, looking backwards.
So far with the Shenzhou missions, have we ever had a daytime launch? with
yes, we do.
manned missions?
Yes, we do.
The second stage works much longer than the first stage, although it has a shorter length, has less propellants, but because it only has one main engine, about 80 tons level, so it works much longer. Okay, Qingdao ground station has already have the data link connected to the launch vehicle.
So
But this moment is still to the west.
Yes,
we're on
west,
track.
yeah.
And then it will fly across the Qingdao. And still have connections with Weinan Station in Shanxi province.
That's my hometown.
Yeah.
Getting a good view there.
So you can visit the ground station.
So I guess it's above Hebei at this moment.
Maybe in Shandong.
Yeah. So after Shenzhou, it's going to be entering the Pacific, and then the boat will take over.
Our
for the control,
space tracking ship, our Yuanwang 3 space tracking ship.
So we can really draw out the map of exactly where this
You can
rocket
see
is
the
passing
bright
by
flame
now.
of the vernier engine, and also in the middle is the main engine, very bright. So the vernier engine can have a servo unit to move its direction to change the attitude of the second stage, and also to keep it stable.
What period of time are we looking at before they reach orbit?
About more than 9 minutes after launch.
So I think you can see that the engine is continue to accelerate the capsule so that it can reach roughly 7.8 kilometers per second speed, which is what we call a cosmic speed. For not coming back to Earth, but it's circling around the Earth. That's the minimum speed that they request to go around the Earth, and also they're accelerating to the altitude of which is a little less than 400 kilometers above the Earth, which is the station altitude.
We said earlier how they chose this time so that the whole rendezvous and docking, the whole process will take less time, 6.5 hours, right? Then what's the longest that China's manned space missions have taken then for this process?
For the Shenzhou, for the Tiangong 1 and the Tiangong 2 missions, usually they took 2 days.
2 days.
Okay,
That's
the main engine
difference.
of the second stage has shut down, which means that the main acceleration procedure is already been accomplished, and the astronaut now the G-forces is much less than before, much more comfortable than before. And then with several seconds will be the shutdown of the 4 vernier engines. You can now still see the 4 vernier engines.
Let's check in now with Zheng Yibing, who's at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center. Yibing, so everybody must be tracking the progress of the rocket there. What's the latest?
Shenzhou-19 spacecraft has been launched from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, and we saw the exciting moment of the ignition and liftoff of the flight combination of Long March 2 FCAR rocket and Shenzhou-19 manned spacecraft. And this is the 14th manned space flight mission of China. And also, its mission is to send the Shenzhou-19 crew to China's Tiangong Space Station to take the baton from the Shenzhou-18 crew for the 6 months long and stay in China's space station. And also here at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center, we saw the whole process of this launch sequence. From the see-off ceremony from the Wentiangge Pavilion to the system check at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center, and from the counting down at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center to the separation of the boosters and the first and second stages. And while the 3 taikonauts, or the Chinese astronauts, just like Mr. Yang Yuguan in the studio said, they look very comfortable. So Mr. Cai Xuzhe and Song Lingdong and Wang Haoze, they look very calm and determined. They do prepare for this mission. And well, this mission, or the flight mission of the Shenzhou-19 crew, takes a fast rendezvous and docking mode, just like the previous 7 mission from the Shenzhou-12 and 3 years ago to the Shenzhou-18 just 6 months ago. They all took the fast rendezvous docking mode. It took about 6.5 hours to get for the spacecraft to get to the Tiangong Space Station. So Now at the current time, we saw on the big screen is the status of the Shenzhou-19 crew, but in the moment later, we are going to see the Shenzhou-18 crew. They're waiting in the China Space Station and waiting for the coming of the newcomers to the station. And during the recent days, they have made a very full preparation to welcome the newcomers. And we're going to see the meet and fantastic meet, space meet of the two Shenzhou crews in China's Tiangong Space Station. Although this is a routine launch mission after China Space Station entered its application and development stage, we all see the details, and we also see that is very exciting moment. Just like the crews of the Shenzhou's always said in the China Space Station together, China's space is always worth looking forward to. Back to you.
Yibing, thank you so much for being at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center.
Just during Yibing's description, we've already seen the successful separation between the end stage and the Shenzhou spacecraft. And now you may notice that the Shenzhou spacecraft is already in the sunshine area. You can see the beautiful curvature of the horizon of the Earth. Very beautiful.
This is the camera outside the capsule.
Yeah.
And so soon we'll be expecting the solar panels to open up, right?
Unfolded, will be extended within several minutes.
That marks the success.
Although we don't usually hear the announcement from the control center of the official,
with the commander of the launch site system. Now you can see the camera on the propulsion module, which can monitor the unfolding procedure of the launch solar panels.
We just heard some various reports there.
And also, as I emphasized, you can see the beautiful curvature of the Earth's horizon. Okay, unfolded. Each of our solar panel wing have 4 pieces. The Shenzhou spaceship.
How many solar panel wings does this have? Two
wings. Each have 4 pieces.
And then we can see the Shenzhou-18 crew in there eagerly awaiting. So we expect the 2 crews to meet by midday Beijing time, right?
Exactly.
Meet for lunch.
The fifth
lunch dates.
The fifth rendezvous of different crew in orbit.
Yes, the capsule itself has to find the sun so that the solar panel can be driven by a system called SADA to face the sun to generate maximum power to provide the capsule with electricity.
It finds that automatically?
Yeah, it has a sensor.
And the orbit maneuver to chasing the Tiangong Space Station will all be done automatically.
We're hearing that they're saying the panels are rotating normally.
The ground staff report, as Yan Song has mentioned, the SADA working normally. Tianlu is the name of the Tianlian data relay satellite.
We're talking about the tracking there.
Yeah. Now you can see it's already in the daytime. You can see the Earth is so bright.
Oh, I was wondering what that was actually.
I wasn't sure. It's already above the Pacific Ocean.
They find the sun.
Sunflowers.
So it's another day for them.
That's the Shenzhou-19 crew speaking to the command center. Oh wait, the other way around.
The voice of Mr. Cai Xuzhe.
Report on the health conditions.
That's the Shenzhou-19 crew speaking.
Feeling good.
That's a classic line, isn't it? Yeah, we're feeling good.
Yeah. Obviously, he's very calm.
Is this the little window that
they can open their face mask?
They can, okay.
Because this moment, the inner atmosphere inside the cabin is in a normal condition.
There, they just open it
not
up.
hazardous to the astronauts.
What sort of temperatures is inside this capsule right
in
now?
room temperature, usually very comfortable for them. Maybe 20, maybe 25 degrees.
Yeah.
But when they open up the helmet, the visor, would they feel a change in the pressure?
No. It's adjusted to the human adapted conditions. what we call life support system on board the capsule.
Okay, both the space tracking ship Tiangong 3号 or the Yuanwang 3 tracking ship, and also the Tianlu or the Tianlian data relay satellite have normal communication link with the vehicle. So we have redundancy measures, both from the sky and from the sea.
So this view we're looking at right now on the screen, so this is a camera
mounted on the Shenzhou spaceship.
And that
outside
bright orb is
the bright one on the top right is the Earth.
That's
with cloud.
Really fascinating view.
Maybe it's alright, not cloud. Maybe it's because it is too bright. It's just because it's too bright.
Yeah.
That's not a view everyone gets to see.
It is exposure of the camera.
I hope we can go there and see it.
Maybe with these privately, operated spacecrafts.
You will be the 5th batch of
As Sun Ye was saying earlier, that the frequency of these launches now, these manned missions, every half a year, it's impressive, isn't it?
Yes, to maintain the permanent presence of human beings on board the station, you have to do that in rotation every half a year. Astronauts do have longer times they stay in the station. One of the longest one, an American, spent almost 2 years in the station. But when he came back, he said, I went to a foot massage. And the foot massager said, I've never tried a foot so tender.
Wow.
Now is a video. This is a 3D animation. So you can see, although it is a 3D animation, but it is real data driven. So the status, including the status of the panels, represents the real condition.
轨道与遥测数据监视判断，神舟19号飞船已进入近地点高度200公里，远地点高度362公里，倾角41.5度，周期1小时30分钟的预定轨道。太阳帆板展开，飞船工况正常。
The spaceship is operating normally, the astronauts are feeling good, the panels are open, operating well. Pretty much as expected, everything just went.
With that apogee and perigee, it's in the elliptical orbit. It's going to be having another maneuver before it's ready for rendezvous.
It has a very small eccentricity. The perigee is 200 kilometers, and the apogee, or the highest point, is 362 kilometers.
And if you put that in lay terms for us, the apogee and the perigee, we're talking about...
It's like an elliptical orbit. It's in relative to Earth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it has a near Earth point, and it's also far Earth point. So that makes an elliptical orbit.
Elliptical.
The highest point is the station orbit.
So the commander will announce the success, and we will see the big red screen.